What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mr. Straight Facts Show. I am Mr. Straight Facts. So let's get into it. Today, I'm not even going to go with the top of the news. You know what I'm going to do? What's up, Woke Mike? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to really talk about what needs to be talked about because there's been a lot of distractions. I'm just going to sit here and look at what we need to be talking about. Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump and the two women beside them that are a part of their whole gimmick. Yeah, the Epstein files need to come out. I'm going to give it what it needs to be up front because everybody else is talking about the bullshit that Donald Trump and his whole crew is trying to do. They have been throwing off bombs left and right to try and see if everybody would run over here, run over there, and run everywhere, but not to exactly where they want to go to. Michael Wolff been throwing some bombs on them. If you go see Michael Wolff, I ain't going to use none of his content because, you know, I don't want to get sued because his shit is raw. His stuff is sitting here telling you, look, Donald Trump and Melania both knew of what Epstein was doing. She was a part of the whole process, meaning like she was one of the quote unquote hoes that they picked. Now, I don't think she was one of the ones that was raped or anything like that, but I think she was one of the ones that realized I could come up. I'm coming from wherever the hell she came from. You know what I mean? Another country. She came here, didn't have everything right. Again, Michael Wolff goes in talking about she's not even a model. What does she model? You see her sparsely put into model stuff. Made up crap. Ain't nobody paid for that. What did she come over here for? Because she sure as fuck wasn't a model. Then get the genius process to get here. You can't get a genius. Or is it Albert Einstein or whatever? The Einstein. There's no way getting that as an immigrant coming into this country. This woman had nothing to offer and still has nothing to offer but some weird looking kid she came that she spawned from Donald Trump. No. And Michael Wolff is exposing it all. I suggest you go watch him or follow him either on Instagram or TikTok. He may be on YouTube. I haven't seen him on YouTube. But I've been listening to everything he said. And then I go back and I start like trying to find documentation. He'll literally tell you. He even has like video. He interviewed Jeffrey Epstein. I want him to put those tapes out. I haven't seen him yet, but he interviewed him, I guess, for his book. And Jeffrey Epstein went into his files and showed him a picture of Donald Trump and a bunch of, let's say, girls who were of a certain age. He didn't want to express, you know, like that they're basically young girls. And he has some kind of, in his pants, he has some kind of like wet spot. And they're all like laughing and pointing at it or some shit. Where that at, Donald Trump? I mean, he calling you out, homie. He calling you out. And all you doing is sitting here talking about taking over Washington, D.C., Pam Bondi, cockeyed Kash Patel, you know, your lackey that's a head of the FBI. He's head of the FBI, head of the military. Yeah. Pete Hegseth. That's what I'm trying to get to. Pete Hegseth. All of them. You got them all paraded around like they're bright individuals. Kash Patel sitting there looking in 7 different fucking directions. Only got 2 eyes. And you want us to believe in this crackpot. I mean, it reminds you of like TV shows back in the day. Like one of them's Gomer Pyle. You know what I'm saying? It's just ridiculous to think that these people are serious human beings. Hogan's Heroes. It reminds you of that. Go back and check it out if you have not seen that type of stuff back in the day. Go check it out. They remind you of bumbling idiots getting up there saying whatever the hell this fool wants them to say, and each day is different. Contradicting each other because dipshit wakes up every day and thinks a new reality is real, one that he just built. He'll build it on the fly, and they'll come in and just like, yeah, yeah. What he said. What he said was garbity gook. What the fuck do you want to say? You want to say the same shit? Because of the president, we got this. Because of the press, shut the fuck up. That man doesn't even know he's standing there right now. He looking around. He have a dopey ass look, and he sits. He stands like this, like at an angle. Like, dude, what's wrong with you? He stands at an angle. It's like his forehead right here is too heavy for him, so he's just leaning forward. And they're sitting there talking to them about this man. Oh, he's such great. Said, shut up. Y'all know damn well this man is shitting on himself right this fucking second. These are lackeys, people who wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for him. People whom nobody else wanted to work with. And Donald Trump came and scooped up the very bottom of the barrel and put them in big positions because he wants people who can't think for themselves. And here we are, people leading our country that can't think for themselves. If Donald Trump tells them to bark, those bitches will bark. Roll over, Kash Patel would turn around and wag his fucking tail in a heartbeat. None of them have morals worth the fuck. And you know what's so trip? You aren't seeing Dan Bongino being paraded around anymore. Where the hell is he? They got him in the dungeon. Should we be worried? Not that I would be, but should we be worried that he's not trapped somewhere inside the White House? Because, come on, they used to parade him around. Look at my little light-skinned Negro. Look, he can turn around and bark. Whoop. Look at him. Say what I want you to say. What you want me to say? That I'm the best in the world. He's the best in the world. That's it. You haven't seen this fool. Because he must have grew a pair, and couldn't get out there and do the tap dancing. It's funny that somebody like him is caught in a hell that he can't get out of. I promise you, he is caught in a hell he can't get out of. He's stuck in this thing where he knows that he is supporting a pedophile while he went out there screaming, gotta get the pedophile, gotta get the pedophile. Oh, you got him all right. You backed him and voted for him. But here we go. Where you at now, Dan Bongino, loudmouth? Where you at? Nowhere to be found. Just hiding in the corner, shaking and shit. Don't know what to do. While Kash Patel is sitting out there at attention. A loyal little dog. A cockeyed one by that. Keep on calling him cockeyed. Because he is. You know he be looking 6 different directions at one time. You're like, who you looking at, fool? Who you looking at? This right here is what we need to be focused on. This man took a woman who was so egregious in her acts that she went out on purpose, just driving around with a little latte. And don't get it twisted. This trick was rich from the jump. Her father rich as hell. And she was twisted from jump. She found her soulmate in Jeffrey Epstein. She ain't no innocent person. That's her soulmate. Tell me this real quick. What do you find, or where do you find the person that you care or love for? Usually in a place where you kind of frequent. You know, every once in a while, randomly, you might see him, but again, you frequent the grocery store, you frequent the club or whatever it may be. You work where you always frequent. It's somewhere where you frequent. How did these two get together? And ask yourself, not unless he was beating her and he was a pimp, which it didn't appear that this was the case. How did he get her to be okay? Because he didn't get her when she was a child, right? So how did this man get this woman to go out there and search for girls? He didn't get her to do that. She was already like that. They soulmates. She has no remorse for what she did. She has never apologized. She has never acted like she did anything wrong. And you got other people on Fox News or whatever the hell it is, right-wing news, literally saying, "Oh, she's a victim too." When did we hear that she was a victim? She never said she was a victim. She never said he did it to her. That's shit you made up because you want to make an excuse for a poor white woman that you think that just got caught up with this crazy white dude. No. Her and him were soulmates. You don't do shit like that and have so much fun that you're going out and finding children. Setting up a whole game with children. She was caught up with the money and the fun. If she was not into doing this bitch could have left at any given fucking point. She was rich. She had her own fucking money. Rich. Why do you need this fool? You already rich. And yours was a legal rich as far as we know from your father. This motherfucker never had a job. He worked at the Dalton School without an education. That's shady as fuck. Bill Barr's father is the one who hired him. Shady as fuck. How you hiring somebody who ain't got no skills to do the damn job? Unless he bribing the hell out of you from something Bill Barr's father did. I still want to know. Nobody's even bringing up the fact that Bill Barr hired him for the Dalton School, a multi-million-dollar school for kids who were rich families. You hired somebody with no education to teach. You don't even hire somebody with no education to teach public school kids. How the fuck you hiring somebody? And then gets not necessarily kicked out, but people feel kind of weirded out that he's, I guess, fucking with little girls there, that you end up letting him go. And he didn't just fall on a sword. No. He went straight working for Bear Stearns. How the hell you go from a school where you don't have any education? We don't know if this man ever investing in jack shit. Never taking a class to teach nobody, nor going for further education on his own. So you're talking about a man that went from high school to teaching schools, high-end schools. Something's dirty there. I don't know what it is, but people should be trying to find the fuck out. Just because he's dead doesn't matter. Because when you find that root, you'll find out all the dirty people along the way. Bill Barr's father is a dirty person because there's no way in hell he wasn't bribed or something to get this fool to start working without education, without a degree, teaching kids who have a better education than he has. And then to go Bear Stearns after that, never, ever, ever fucking investing in jack shit. Don't have a degree in it, has no license to do it, nothing. Just goes and works his way up. In 4 years, he starts his own firm. How the fuck? And only will accept billionaires. Unheard of. Talk to anybody in the industry. Research it. It is unheard of for somebody to get into Bear Stearns and within 4 years work their way up from like whatever the hell position, the low-end position, usually like the mailroom. But somehow this man gets in and automatically goes up. I don't know if he was on his knees doing the slurpy slurp. I don't know what the fuck he was doing, but there's no way in hell. White privilege be damned. White people, y'all know what I'm talking about. Not all y'all can just walk into a building and start working at it at one of the highest levels. In 4 years, you're at the top. That you can start your own business without having a degree in it, without showing people that you're actually great at investing. What was he doing? See, I think it needs to be a double-tiered thing here, a two-tiered situation. We need to be finding out what he did and how he became rich, because a lot of that has to deal with the girls. Because not having any license to invest, yet though people are acting like he's some kind of investor, no, not an investor whatsoever. So when you follow that trail, you'll start to find out he was embezzling or something. There's no way. He was hiding money, holding secrets for people that were doing egregious acts, finding out when people were doing something, recording them and their messages and shit like that, finding out what kind of dirt they was in and squeezing himself into that particular dirt, or he would turn them in. There had to be something, because the recordings, the girls, right? And the high-powered rich people, men and women. Don't get it twisted. Everybody's looking for a man. There's men, but look at it. I don't believe Ghislaine Maxwell is the only woman. Melania is one of them. There are more women involved in this. Trust and believe. You think it's just two freaks out there that are women? Huh. They're looking for men, for women. I guarantee you there's a shit ton of women too. Ghislaine was a weird individual. Evil even. She never thought once about the spirit of these young girls. She never thought once, after these girls unalived themselves because they couldn't take this shit no more, she never thought once to feel any kind of remorse or shame. She didn't feel bad about doing none of it. Even going to jail, she never repented. Nothing. And here it is. She's getting special treatment. Being sent to Club Fed when she should be in a a place where hardened criminals go. In a jail where she should be worried about getting shanked every 10 minutes, as opposed to a place where this bitch can play golf in the back. They won't even let this trick around dogs in this particular prison because they're vulnerable creatures. They think she's going to rape dogs. They know this bitch is crazy. But yet you put her in a place where she should not be. And that's all to cover up for this relationship she is with Donald Trump and Melania Trump. Melania Trump. I don't know what her real last name was prior to that. But you can't tell me that you don't think this woman is weird or fucked up, that you won't even let her around the dogs in the prison that you're in because they're vulnerable. You know she will harm vulnerable animals and people. And you still put her in a place where she should not be, where she should be in a cage. You have Latin men, women, and young boys thrown into a cage, a fucking human kennel at Alcatraz, right? Not Alcatraz, but you know what, the alligator Alcatraz. You got innocent fucking Latin people of all ages, from teens to grown-ass men, ain't fucking did one crime, and they're living there eating, where there's fucking maggots in the food. They're drinking the fucking shit water. It's hot as fuck. And you guys got a rapist of children that can't get around dogs, but she eating square meals a day inside of an air-conditioned spot. Being able to go outside and do whatever the fuck she wants. But you got these people trapped like they fucking dogs. And you won't even treat dogs like that. Only wild ones that you want to put down. And you treating humans like that. And this trick gets to get out of prison and go into a fucking Club Fed. This country's fucked, man. None of those people have committed crimes that we know of at Alligator Alcatraz. We don't know of any being treated because they didn't have due process. Could there be criminals in there? Hell yeah, there could be. But do we know for sure? Fuck no. Because they didn't have due process. So you got people in there who probably ain't never committed a crime alongside somebody who don't shank somebody. And they didn't do anything but just be brown and Latin. And this country's sitting here just thinking like, that's not, we wanted to get them out of the country. What? You don't see that this is an internment camp like they did the Japanese after the war, or during the war, actually. You don't see it's the same what Hitler did at the very beginning. Started just grabbing up all these people, and then they started starving to death. And then he wanted to just push it up and start cooking them. These people are eating, there's maggots in their food. Do you think they're eating that shit? So they basically starving these people too. Wow, the guards there are getting chicken, like full-on chicken sandwich, a quarter of a chicken. And even some of them are saying that they saw the food all messed up, and even they had to deal with toilets backing up and all this other shit and water not being clean. The one lady who ended up getting fired, I believe, but she just came out and told the truth. Now, that's not the only thing, because again, we heard from, I forget the name of the, I believe, senator, female senator, who came out and said she saw some of the same things, or at least heard some of the same things from the people who were there that she got to speak to. And remember, they didn't let anybody come in to see them until they cleaned this shit up. So what they saw was a cleaned up version of it, and it still was horrible. You've seen the pictures. It's a fucking kennel. You don't even want to put your dog in one of those. And yet, America's treating human beings like that. So that's why we focus on what's real. This right here, 4 pedophiles, as far as I'm concerned. 2 definite, the other 2, I say definite, but hey, it's alleged to those who don't have a fucking brain. Because there's no way in hell you partying all night and shit, hanging out with and being the best friend of, and not know your homie ain't said something crazy. How many of y'all done hung out with your homie? This is your homie. I mean, when we saw pictures of this fool with Donald Trump, I'll show you. This is the picture right here. But then when you see, do I have the right one? But when you see it, if I get the right one, Epstein, where is it at? Epstein kicks his girl up out of it. Maxwell's not in it. It's on, whatever, in his offices and shit. Now, it turns out, this man had pictures of Donald Trump in his fucking bedroom, all throughout his house. I'm going to tell you right now, I got a lot of homies, not one of y'all, no disrespect, ain't none of y'all in my house and in my bedroom. Why the fuck would that be? I got pictures on my phone like, oh yeah, being the homie was here. Yeah. But I didn't print that bitch out and cut somebody out and put it up on my wall. That's some shit. I don't understand that at all. You got the homie just sitting there in front of everybody. You got Steve Bannon in the back. I guess Arab guy in the back. I don't know who he is. But you got this whole thing. Then you got a picture, I guess, either of your island or some kind of stock photo of an island next to it. I see it's probably all. We got that island there. He's probably talking about all the people in this photo went to the island. I mean, because that's the only location spot that's up there as a picture. Everybody else is faces. You see a picture of an island and everybody on beside it or behind it. I'm just saying. So you got all that. He kicked his girl out just to be hanging out with the other 2. You don't do that. And again, not in the home. Not in the home. Now, I'm different. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm different. I'm not going to have the homie just sitting. You're going to be coming over my house. I remember the movie, what was it? White Chicks. White Chicks, I believe it was. When Sean Wayans pretended to be the rich dude, which was Terry Crews, and he took old girl to the house and had all this stuff on the wall with this other black dude who wasn't him. She's sitting there like, you got a picture of this dude. You got a picture of this dude, and he all half naked with it strawed out. He just laid out on one photo, just laid out. I like, that's what it seems like. Why would you have a bunch of dudes just laying on your credenza? Unless it was something behind it. Because again, just like Donald Trump talked about grabbing women by the, was locker room talk. Well, I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is not normal for a dude to have a bunch of pictures of other dudes. It's just not unless they family. And even if you are working with them, And you may have went on vacations with them. You may have a photo, but here or there. But why is it all strewn around your house? This is some cryptic shit. Because I don't believe this dude was such a sentimental dude that he just wanted to have pictures all over the place. An evil bastard like that is not sentimental for Jack. He may hold trophies, but he ain't sentimental. Because you're going to tell me you sentimental, that you can have this kind of love in your heart, that you got your homies and shit, you take a picture of it, but then you got a bunch of girls that you rape every day? They said he had a strong habit. Like he had 6 or 7 girls a day at one point. Different girls. So you got sympathy and empathy and all my homies all on a wall or on a desk? No. This dude was evil. Those photos are probably the people he got trapped. Went to that island. Code or something. Because you even listen to Michael Wolff, and he'll tell you that this dude was really kind of maniacal. So if Donald Trump and him weren't cool, why are those pictures still up there? I don't know exactly what year this is, but why are those pictures still up there? I had enough, but I wanted to focus on them, because that's the most important thing. Then we're gonna get to some of the dumbest shit you ever heard today. Donald Trump had a takeover today, Washington, D.C. Another attempt for you to forget that he was hanging out with the pedophile and the female pedophile, and him and his wife met through the pedophile, but somehow he's not connected to the pedophile, but he got a baby by the one who connected him. Well, Epstein connected his wife, Melania, or his hoe at the time, and then got them together. Who in here married their hoe? I'm talking about for real. No disrespect, ladies. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just saying it's like, again, if you are a person who pays for a woman, you know who did? You know who did? Charlie Sheen did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Again, another white dude that's rich. Who does that shit? Who marries the girl that you paid to have sex with? You know she in it for the money. And she done left you and went and had 6, 7, 8, 12, 15, 35, 11 men after you. And you going to say, oh, it's so good. I'm like, I bet it is. You brought an immigrant here to have sex with her. Isn't that some kind of act that he must have broke the law or something just to bring girls here to have sex? Isn't it crossing state lines and country lines or some shit? And then get her to this fast pass. You need to see who signed her to get, her to become an immigrant, to pass as an immigrant. You need to see who signed that. What judge signed that? Because whoever judge signed that, he is a part of this ring too. Because there is no way in hell he or she would have ever passed that, would ever said that's okay. Somebody who signed that has to be a part of this whole ring too. I'm telling you, all you got to do is follow the names connected to the crimes. She does not deserve an Einstein visa, none whatsoever. So whomever said, okay, that person was in the pocket of Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. That person was either on the island or was caught. Because why would you go against everything and break the law as a person who's supposed to be a steward of the law? And you're going to break it just for these two? Sounds like somebody was forced to do that. But again, look it up. Mainstream media, why y'all tiptoeing around this shit? Y'all waiting for him to release something. The truth is out there. Just follow the clues. He's cut out of a picture, or she's cut out of a picture. Maxwell is. There's a city or island on that credenza. Nobody else is on there but these bunches of men, powerful men, and his little island. That right there was so important to him. The island, Donald Trump's right next to the island, and then all the other people kind of like behind it and to the left of it. But there's really a lot of space between Donald Trump and the one to the left. The island and Donald Trump are neck and neck. People are creatures of habit. And when you start to pay attention to what people do and why people place things where they place them or where they do things, you start to pay attention. There's a habit, there's a structure to it. This is not willy-nilly that you got pictures in your house that you see every day. Every day. How many of y'all want to see y'all homie every day? You going to wake up every day and walk up and be like, yep, there he is. Yep, there he is. I don't want to see my homie every day. If I'm going to hit with the homie, I'm like, yo, y'all want to go out, get something to eat? Yeah, I want to go this. Want to go to Vegas and chill? Yep, all right, cool. I'm not going to sit there and take a picture of homie and sit him there and wake up. Oh, there he is. I'm not doing that. You're not doing that. So what the hell is this? What is it? All right. Donald Trump out here cosplaying as a president, the ShortBus president. Let's get it.
I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're...
Hold up. Wasn't Liberation Day the same day of the tariffs? Wasn't that Liberation Day? This man remarketing days and shit? I thought he was a master marketer. You got the Liberation Day, hiking up taxes left and fucking right. And now Liberation Day is to liberate Washington, D.C. from crime? You mean the head criminal in chief? The dude who's got 34 felonies in which he should be in jail for. The dude that molested, which a judge said you can say it raped, E. Jean Carroll. Owes her like $80 million and trying to get out of it. The same dude that over 20-something women said he grabbed them by the vagina, and others said that he grabbed their breasts and other parts of their body. One that I know of for a fact, she says it, in front of and was the girlfriend of Jeffrey Epstein at the time. You grabbing your homie's girlfriend's body parts and y'all ain't cool? And on top of that, you swinging. Because I'd be damned if I bring my girl to meet you and you grab her breasts and ass in front of me. You ain't going to be breathing for like that long. You're going to be you're going to be trying to breathe, but you ain't going to be breathing that long. I'm knocking you the fuck out. What man in here is going to allow their girlfriend? It ain't got to be your wife, your girlfriend, your girl. Not unless you're into that type of shit. And me, to be honest, this is my opinion, not truth or facts. My opinion based off of life experiences. When men do not like women, they like men. That's not all of them. But if you are a person who harms women, you don't like them. You don't. You're hiding something. Because in this situation, those two act like they were like swingers and they were with each other. Because you don't bring your girl up so you can watch your homie grope her. Not unless you get hot off that shit. Not unless that turns you on. And what homie likes to watch his other homie mess with his girl? Again, something's off with these people. 100% off. But this man right here, Washington, D.C., gonna get rid of crime, and he's the head criminal in chief.
Going to take our capital back. We're taking it back. Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is?
Nope, because you don't know what it is. That's why you asking everybody else to tell you. You know what that is? Neither do I. Dipshit.
And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening. They've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. I'm announcing a...
I bet your money the notes that he has in front of him look like cartoons. They drew him pictures and shit. I guarantee. You seen that they had like a picture out there on how they present him the news of the day or the information he had. They literally put a PowerPoint slide, but it's not even that. It's really like pictures of the day and people, and it is sad that this man needs pictures to teach him how to do his job. That's what they call merit. This man needs picture pages, coloring books, and crayons. You want to give it to him to figure out. You know he loves markers. Just draws on, adds on whole other areas of places just so that he can make it look like he's right. And on top of that, now he's all into like going to Kinko's and shit, or at least having somebody go to Kinko's and print out slides and shit, big ass posters. Look, it go up. It go up. I good. You would think I'm talking about some comedy on Comedy Central or some shit. Like an episode of South Park or something. This is real life shit. We have a dipshit in office. I mean, dumb as fuck. He's over here reading about something that's so simple for him to even present. You got it to me? Okay, cool. And remember, he was the one always talking about, everybody read the prompter and everybody reads this. I just go off the top of the dome because I'm just good. No, you just can't read and you can't remember shit. So what do? You've been reading ever since you became president, and horribly at that. This is a horrible president, point blank, period. 100% horrible. So this man is up here telling everybody that he is going to, let me flip this off because I want to have. Sometimes my light starts to flash. I don't want no one to have seizures or anything like that. Don't want to be a part of that. So I'm sorry if you saw that. But this man is out here trying to tell everybody that he's got this. I'm trying to figure out something. How do you got something when you are a criminal, bro? And I don't understand anybody that is a Republican, Democrat, or American, just period, no matter what. How on earth are you okay with having a president that's a criminal and keeps on talking about stopping crime? How can you stop crime, bro? That's like telling somebody, that's like you're a criminal, but you're trying to go after criminals. What is it? Because of competition? You want to knock out the criminals? I mean, because I've never known a criminal try and get rid of another criminal unless it was something like they were competition. But he's trying to act like he is the man of the law when he can't even spell it. This man has broken law since he was a toddler. His dad, you know, he evoked his dad today, talking about his dad was bright and all this other stuff. And he told him, what was the analogy? He said something about, son, if you go into a restaurant and the door is dirty, then the kitchen's dirty too. So he tried to compare Washington, D.C. as the door to America. And so because Washington, D.C., he believes, has a dirty door, the rest of America is dirty too. Can we get the 25th Amendment like set up already? I mean, come on. That analogy was dumb as fuck. He's trying to say America's this kitchen that just because one state is bad, all 50 are bad. And Washington, D.C. ain't even a state, but I digress. This man is just fucking insane. Insane. MAGA's got to see it, but they don't care. You're going to let this country go to shit because you want this guy to allow you to be racist, sexist, homophobic, uh, xenophobic. You want to get certain people out of the country so that you could have jobs. I heard one of them say, and I want to say it was this Batya. I don't know how you say her name. She's on CNN often. She's really deranged, but I think it was her that said it. I may have credited the wrong person, but she was talking about that the idea of people like me and liberals and Democrats saying that nobody wants the jobs that these immigrants are taking in America, and America wouldn't do it. And she goes, that's a myth because they just don't want to take those jobs at those rates. I'm like, bitch, if you pay me $1 million a day, I ain't picking nobody's fucking cotton. The fuck is she talking about? I ain't picking an orange, an apple. Bitch, you could pay me $1 billion a day. I ain't picking shit. My ancestors won't allow me to. It is unwritten law for my ancestors to say, never pick a damn thing. I only want to pick my nose, bitch. Ain't no way in hell I'm going to be out there picking cotton. No way. You could give me the world. I'm like, bitch, you can keep it. Ain't no way in hell I'm going to be picking Jack. So I don't know what the fuck she talking about. There you go. Unger. I appreciate it. Who's that? Gun toting. Yeah, ain't no way in hell I'm picking cotton, oranges, apples, trees. I don't give a fuck what it is. I ain't picking Jack. I won't even go pick my own fruit off that bitch. So I don't know what she talking about. That if you're going to pay me more money, I'll go back to slavery. I ain't going to go there. But you crazy. You crazy as fuck. And again, for people coming in here, it is an honest job, fair paying job, hardworking job. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that it is a respectable gig. But my ancestors did it for long enough that I get a pass from that shit. We did it for free. Okay? We died having to do that for centuries. It's a wrap. So I don't know what she's talking about. I have no idea what this woman talking about. Thank you, 515, for the donation. Most definitely, I'll look at it. But yeah, it is crazy to think that somebody would think that we would go back there. This lady. And then Scott Jennings is another dipshit that I can't stand. But mention that we would go back. How my black people said, hell no. Hell no. No way in hell we doing that. I wouldn't even allow my kids to do that. My kids say something like that. I'm like, yo, I'll take you out before I fucking let you do that. I'll go to jail for it, whatever. But there's no way in hell you taking us back to the past. Fuck them. They want to go back to the past, then take their asses out there and do it. But we're not doing it. Like I said, I pick a lane if necessary. Nah, I ain't doing it. I promise you. I'd go to another route before I had to go there. Not going back to it. Not unless I was a loving farming. You know what I'm saying? I get my own farm. But nah. Like I said, it's a respectable gig, but I ain't doing it. But those are the things that, like Donald Trump is out here, or at least that was Batya saying that craziness. It's not going to happen, Jack. So I'm looking at Donald Trump. He's talking about crime in his little spiel. He was talking about crime. If you watch that thing, it was a little bit long, but he was talking about crime throughout the United States and, well, not throughout the United States, through Washington. This is one thing I can't stand about him and other people even in this country, Democrats and all, because they never really give you the full-on story. They'll just say something blanket like, there are some red states that have crime too. Well, we're going to get into that. But there's different levels or different focuses on crime that the FBI looks at, and then there's the CDC. They look at a different level of crime. Now, the violent crimes are usually done by the FBI. And oftentimes, certain states are hard to get numbers. I don't know why, but I've been reading up on it throughout today and trying to find out why states like Wyoming and there's a few other states at the top of my head, I can't remember, but Wyoming and a few other ones have problems figuring out what their thing, what their crime rate is, and it's only like 2 or 3 states, but every year, because the last ones they found was 2023 and 2022 crime rates of overall crime and murders. And again, both of those years, Wyoming and a couple other states, like 2 or 3 states, have a problem getting their numbers in. I don't know why. But then I tried to find out, like, what are the top states for, like, the worst crime, meaning like murder rates, right? And the top states, let me get it right here. That's overall crime. I'm trying to get murder. Okay. The top 5 are Louisiana, red state; New Mexico, blue state; Alabama, red state; Tennessee, red state; Arkansas, red state. I'm going even to the 6th. Missouri, red state; South Carolina, red state; Alaska, red state; Maryland, blue state; North Carolina, red state. So when you just heard the top 10 just now, there are only, was it 2? Yeah. There were 2 blue states in the top murderous crime rate in 2023 in the United States. 8 out of 10 are red states. Tell me how haven't you went around closing up all those red states and throw your little FBI around all the time? Why? Because those people vote for you. If you don't believe this crap is political, then you're in a cave somewhere. This man is literally picking on states that are liberal and states that are mostly black. Where are any of the top 10 states, 8 of which have the highest murder rates? You know what's so trip? They always talking about Illinois, Chicago, right? That's 15. They don't even make the top 10, Chicago. It is an old ass, tired ass statement to talk about Illinois being like one of the murderous capitals in the world and all this other bullshit. They've been using that because they've used that as a crutch to say black people. Black on black crime, which is racist as fuck, because you never heard white on white crime, Latin on Latin crime, Asian on Asian crime. Proximity crime is the highest crime. So if you live in a white community, you're more than likely going to get robbed by a white person. You live in a black community, it's a high percentage of black persons going to rob you. If you live in an Asian community, it's more than likely an Asian person going to put a cap in your ass. That's just how it goes. Point blank, period. There's no pure race. There's no race that never harms anybody. There's craziness in every culture, every race. But these fools want you to believe that it is mostly black people, that it is mostly brown people, that it is mostly liberal people, that it is mostly Democrat people, but it is mostly Republicans. It is mostly red states. And you want to sit here, red-led states, and you want to sit here and say that the Democrats can't run their own country, then why the hell 8 out of 10 out of 8 out of 10 the worst crime rates of murder in this country are in red states? You guys have more guns than everybody else. But those are the states. Here's the crazy part. If you took out the biggest cities in all those states, those red states will still be the worst. You know that California, you could fit most of these states into California? And out of the entire California, huge as California, it still ranks. Where California at? California is 25. You could fit these states all into California, at least At least four of them. At least four of them. And it's 25, California, on the murder rate. Illinois, again, 15. The top 10, 8 are red states, 2 are blue. Now, it shifts a little when you come to crime overall. Now, this ends up being, no weapons. It could be shoplifting, jaywalking, anything that can be considered a crime, and not like, a felony, just any crime, state by state. Now, this right here actually is, they gave me two of them. One I'm going to read is actually overall crime, violent plus property, okay? Most to least. Violent plus property. So this one is violent, but it's not murder. It doesn't go up to murder, right? The number 1 is New Mexico. That is a blue state. Number 2 is Colorado. That is a blue state. Number 3 is Washington. That is a blue state. And that's the top 3. Number 4 is Louisiana. Number 5 is Tennessee. And these two are red states. Number 6 is, let's see where we are on the map. Number 6, is Nevada. And that is a blue state. Number 7 is Oregon. That is a blue state. Number 8 is Arkansas. That is a red state. Right? Let me see here. Make sure. Yep. Number 9 is California, blue state. Number 10 is South Carolina, which is a red state. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So in crime overall, 6 are in the top 10. 6 are Democratic, and 4 are Republican. These are just facts. These are numbers. And this is 2023. So when you talk about just overall crime, you have more Democrat states than Republican states. When you talk about murder rates, when people are actually unalived, totally different. 8 out of those 10 states are Republican. So you can get either party trying to dance around where crime is going to be. If it's mostly Democrat, mostly Republican. Now, when you go to Washington, D.C., now their crime rate is down, but it's still from the pandemic, it's skyrocketed. Again, poverty causes people to do certain things. But if we really got down to the brass tacks of it all, we shouldn't be dividing it with Democrat and Republican, because most crimes come from poverty. People doing what they have to do to survive. But see, we never get to the root of the problem. We exacerbate the problem by pointing fingers. See, Donald Trump had to come out here and talk about, it's, this Democrat-led state and this, I guess, is trash, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, the people who are, I'd rather be in a state that the crime is high for them, being violent and taking my property, like taking my car and maybe punching me. I'd rather be in that state than a state that actually unalives people more than other states that are 2 to 3 times bigger than them. So you're more likely to get robbed in California, but you're more likely to die in Mississippi. You're more likely to get robbed in Nevada. You're more likely to get killed in Louisiana. I'd rather choose, in my situation, to get robbed and killed. Those are the facts. But the reality is, again, it is based on the poverty of certain states, rather. And if we focus on the economics of each one of these states, we could actually try and solve some of these problems. But here's the kicker. Nobody wants to solve the problem. So bitching and moaning really doesn't do anything because you ain't trying to solve the problem. You're trying to use it as a crutch to actually knock over somebody's head so that you can get a vote, so that you can get power instead of actually solving the problem. Because you know what? If you solve the problem, the people who want power have nothing to do to get power. Whether it be Republican or Democrat, their whole thing is to divide you from reality and get you to focus on their reality. Now, personally, what I see when I look at facts, Democrats tell the truth more. Democrats focus on the people more. Democrats actually create a plan. Democrats are the only ones that have balanced the budget in the last fucking, I don't know, 3-4 presidents, whatever the hell it is. Democrats are the only ones who've actually paid down the debt. I mean, come on. How hard is it to realize that one party, even though it's got its billionaires that it wants to appease, is doing something, as opposed to the other party keeps putting us more and more in debt while telling us they're doing something, actually doing the opposite. And more on that is coming up here in a second here, because I don't know if you probably saw it, you guys did with the news. Donald Trump just replaced the young lady who was the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Just replaced her, the one he just fired. This whole process, Steve Bannon requested this dude to be the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And his name is E.J. Antoni, A-N-T-O-N-I. Okay. You remember last week I talked about a guy, I showed you the video, Stephen Moore, because that's the guy that was doing the little stupid ass charts with Donald Trump. He used to be on CNN and he moved over to Fox and things of that nature, in which he talked about, you would see him every once in a while, when Joe Biden was president and Joe Biden's numbers were good, he would always try and spin it. Well, Joe Biden's numbers are good. They're really good right now. I like that. But, you never know. Always pessimistic, even when it's good. And then Donald Trump shit could be fucking in the toilet, but it's coming around the corner and it'd be great. But, right now it's kind of down. Fucking just horrific. When he came in and threw on those tariffs, our economy went so much so that Japan started selling their bonds, which was lessening our dollar. And this fool, Stephen Moore, was sitting out there, well, it could get worse, but I think it's going to get better. Shut the fuck up. Tell the truth. It's horrific. But they're always putting a positive spin on it. And I'm like, why don't you just tell the truth? Fuck your party. Tell the fucking truth. These people out here are trying to get by. American citizens don't want to put their money and invest in something when you know that shit's going to crash because this dipshit don't know what he's doing. We need the information. We need to trust that information. You can't trust that shit on Fox. You got to come semi-pro on your own if you're going to sit there and try to invest, because listening to these fools, it's insane. But that was Stephen Moore. He was part of the Heritage Foundation. And this E.J. Antoni, this dude was an economist for what? The Heritage Foundation. It's so crazy how Donald Trump says, I don't know nothing about the Heritage Foundation. I don't know nothing about Project 2025. I got Project 47 on my website telling all these dipshits, I ain't got nothing to do with it. But turns out, in Donald Trump's first presidency, the people who were working for him then were all Project 2025 people. Those exact same people are back on his team. Now, I wanted to go back because, I like to research a little bit. So I went back to 2024 trying to find a little information, at least a banter between, because I don't know this dude, between E.J. Antoni and some other possibly, I was trying to find at least another economist, and I found one. I think he was for Obama at one point, or it might have been Biden. I think it was Obama. But this is from 2024, and there's two opposing views, and it's on Fox. So bear with me. I understand you might want to throw up. I don't mean to do that to you, but that's where I can find it. So you're going to see these two kind of going back and forth talking, and the host, Shannon Bream or whatever her name is, you can see she's biased, but what do you expect? It's Fox. But we're going to watch this and have some commentary on it, because you're going to see the two together, and you're going to notice something about this AJ Tony guy, or Anthony. All right, let's get it.
Wall Street saw its worst day since 2022 this past Monday in a global market rout. Some of the losses were recouped as the week moved on, but many are wondering what comes next. So joining me now, Robert Wolf, a former economic advisor to President Obama and a Fox News contributor, and EJ and Tony, public finance economist with the Heritage Foundation. Welcome to both of you. Glad to have you with us. Let's talk about what the data says this week about what we saw. I want to start with this from USA Today. USA employers added just 114,000 jobs last month, well below expectations for 175,000 gains. Unemployment rose 4.1% up to 4.3%. That's the highest in nearly 3 years. They go on to say that one gauge tracking the rise of unemployment signals the U.S. could already be in a recession. Hiring is dipped below pre-COVID levels. Meanwhile, manufacturing activity shrank in July, falling to an 8-month low. Consumer spending, the economy's main engine, is slowing, and credit card debt is at a record high. Robert, that does not sound like a good collection of information.
Well, Shannon, thanks for having me on, and I know we're going to discuss a lot of those points. I would probably flip it completely. We've had 43 consecutive months of jobs growth. And to be clear, over the last 2 years, the Trump team and even EJ from the Heritage Foundation was working on Project 2025, and now they're sprinting away from it.
This is August, I think it was August of 2024. He just mentions that this guy, Project 2025, for Donald Trump, have been working for him, all of that. And Donald Trump, he just said, was distancing himself from Project 2025. It's crazy how the economist in which he chose is the dude who is obfuscating, saying that he wasn't a part of anything, even though he hoped that somebody would take it, no matter who became the president. He knew that he wanted Donald Trump because this was written for Donald Trump. Russ Volt is a person who actually created this thing, with this guy being the economist. So the shit we're going through is this dipshit's idea. The tariffs, the everything. His idea. Now they're trying, and Stephen Moore, now they're trying to give this man, they just gave this man this job so that he can continue going down the path in which they have already written to be. Do you think these numbers that he's going to start giving are going to be valid? Fuck no. But do you think the employees who work there, who get the numbers, because they're the ones going to put the numbers, he's going to be the head person. He's going to try and get them to work a funky type of math. And if they don't do it, just check out how the BLS, and it's the Bureau of Labor Statistics, see how many people either fired or quit within the next month or two. And then we're off the rails. Not that we aren't already, but we're really off the rails. Those people start to leave because then the facts of the matter are gone. And who relies on our facts? The rest of the world, not just the United States. And if our numbers don't mesh with the other countries, automatically sell your bonds of America. Sell them. Yeah, why? Because it's going down, but they make it look like they're going up. No, it's tanking. So sell those real quick. Our dollar becomes shit. BRICS and all the others have an opportunity to take over the dollar, and we're highly fucked. But no, they're going down this path of trying to fool the American people that economy is going to be doing well when it's going to be tanking. Because why? Because every American is going to be paying higher everything. Higher everything. Gas bill is going to go up. Everything's going to go up. And I ain't talking about just car. If you have gas, electric, everything's going to go up. Why? Because this fool has gotten out of even building power grids that are even spending the money on it. Windmills and all that shit that, yo, this man literally said, do you see windmills in China? Did you even fact check that, Donald Trump, before you mentioned it? Because they are the leaders in it, you dipshit. They're bigger than us. You remember when, man, I can't stand this country. Do you remember when Obama said in 2008, preaching to the whole world, that the whole world, at least to the United States, but the whole world was listening. America, the old jobs are not coming back. We need to find a new way to build something new and invest in renewables, invest in renewable energy, invest in something new that America can be the manufacturer of, so that everybody needs us. Not the old school way. We got to have a new way. Because the old way ain't coming back. You know why he said that? Not because he hates America. He said that because the billionaires are saying, I ain't paying for that shit. I ain't going to be bringing back no factory stuff. Ain't nobody going to be buying no damn like USB port for fucking $500 when I can get it for $2 and sell it here for $7. Nobody doing that shit. I sure as hell ain't putting the money in. He knew because he listened to the people who make the shit. And the Americans who buy the shit. And he said it wasn't coming back. But what did we get? A bunch of dumbasses wanting everything back the way it was in 1950 when we were doing crazy shit. Like, not crazy, but back then it was good. But now it's crazy for us to be sitting here building all this other shit when in this country, in order for us to do that, if it ain't computerized for the most part, shit, you getting paid $7 an hour to do that shit, to compete with other countries. I wish these people would just pay attention. If China is like #1 in manufacturing, and America's not #1, hell, we might be in like top 5, maybe. I doubt it. But #1 is China, and Japan somewhere close in there. They got to #1 because America was greedy. Our billionaires said, fuck these jobs and making all this. I want to make more money. So they sent it overseas. They were trying to keep China poor forever because it was slave wages. And for so many years, they worked these slave wages until China started gaining power. And how did they do that? They were smart. While America sat here and tried to play the part of, we'll just hire smart people and keep our people stupid. And at that same time, these people in other countries like, well, America seems to be keeping their people stupid. Education is horrible. They need our people to come over there from China to help them with all kinds of shit. They created the computer chip, and here it is. We're making those bitches for them. Oh yeah, down the road, they're gonna be fucked. Because why? Because in China and other places, there are massive factories, yo. It's like a college dorm in that bitch. People live at the factory, work at the factory, switch shifts at the factory, go to sleep at the factory for years. And then what did they do? Started automating everything. Y'all remember back in the day, not that long ago, I would say at least 10 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, when they started having those robots and shit, like jumping up and down, and it used to be all like, they'd be all stilted and shit and barely moving, and then they try to push them over, and they fall over, and they used to fall on their face and couldn't get back up. And then a good 10 years after that, these bitches was just normal. They was running and sprinting, didn't have a head or nothing, had a little point as a head, running around, jumping over shit, throwing things at them, they dodging it. Yeah, China. Yeah, them way the fuck ahead of us. Why? Because America wasn't investing in themselves. They were just trying to make money. And who were they making the most money off of? Us. They took our jobs away and start buying cheap and selling it to us. Good night, Woke Mike. Take care. So in that same vein now, those countries, at least China, has surpassed us by far with products. Now, see, back in the day, it used to be super cheap products, super cheap. But then what did China decide to do? They decide to create technology alongside humans, and therefore the technology, if it can do it, they can hire less humans, and therefore be able to make 1,000 shoes in a day. Would only need 1 or 2 people to come and rig the machine and fix it back up and throw away that spare and back to it. You're making the exact same shoe, lasting and all that. And that's just shoes. All these other things, mass produced. They spent money in it. Technology, robotics. America was sitting here just buying shit. Wasn't trying to reinvent nothing. Obama was trying his damnedest to create another industry. And guess what? The industry in which we were leading at, China done surpassed us at it. They have these windmill farms. You got it, boy, go look it up. It is insane how many windmills these people have. Damn near could power their whole country. It is ridiculous. They are beating us at our own fucking game. And here we are talking about having our own. China's got resources, natural resources. They got electrical, they got the renewable resources, and they're kicking our ass at it. How the hell we stay number one, America, if we behind everybody in which the entire world is moving that direction, and Donald Trump wants to go back to prehistoric times? This fool trying to meet up with a dinosaur. Talking about he the future. The future of what? Jurassic Park? What the fuck is he doing? They want to go back. They can't see the future. And I'm like, how are you this stupid? You can't beat other countries that have already figured out that all they got to do is set up robots to do shit. I have no doubt that China probably has robots that can go to war for them. And not one human gets harmed. I have no doubt. America's way behind, always thinking we're ahead of shit. Their technology on robots surpasses ours by far. Almost every piece of technology to build by far. You look at some of these Chinese buildings and shit, you're like, how the hell they make that in the middle of you a trip? We are here happy about a bridge. These fools be building straight up like stairs to fucking heaven. You'd be like, where's that attached to? How is that? It's insane. They're using their brain. America's not. Future shit, We sitting here worried about Apple giving $100 billion. You know they gave $300-something billion the previous year, $500-something billion the previous year before that. That's their thing. It ain't nothing new. Donald Trump's too stupid to realize him doing what he's doing is actually $200 billion less than what they gave the previous year. But he wants a win. So Tim Cook comes and give him a nice little gold toy, right? Puts it on his desk so he can sniff it like a little puppy and have a good time with it while he roll over. It's the dumbest thing. But that's what they're doing. Catering to this dude who's a grown-ass baby. And we're sitting here having to watch this crap. All of us who've had children, we watched it. This is our kids before they were at their terrible fucking twos. Or somewhere abouts there. Then they get to that phase. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? That's this dude. He is a child in an old ass decrepit orange body. I don't get it, yo. I don't get it. But you see, this is what's going on in this country. We have one dude who knows nothing around a bunch of people who have a strategic plan that has been written out for them. They don't know their jobs. Cash Patel don't know what the fuck he's doing. Pam Body don't know what the fuck she's doing. Dan Bongino don't know what the fuck. Pete Hegseth damn sure don't know what the fuck he's doing. Yet they're the head of stuff. I wouldn't put that dude the head of lettuce at any restaurant, any store. It's horrible. It's horrible. And that's the way we're looking at it. Let's continue with this interview. I know you haven't been looking at this fast for a minute. I'm sorry, but I just want you to see the juxtaposition of these two.
Biden-Harris administration, as you know, they passed the infrastructure policy. And look what we've done. We've had manufacturing gains over almost 800,000, big private sector investment, and factory construction at record highs. And don't take my word. Just look at the projects: the Arizona chips plant, the Georgia battery plant, the North Carolina semiconductor plant, Wisconsin data center. Yes, last month was below expectations, but we've had 14 million job gains since this president has been in office. And we also know that we've had better GDP. We've had better economic policy. And yes, inflation has been a long tail problem for the country, but that's a global phenomenon, both on agriculture and energy.
Let me bring EJ in here.
In that process right there, I like the fact that he admits that there are some things that could be worked on. This is the problem that a lot of people said that it was a problem with the Democrats, is that they weren't listening to the people because the people were going through a lot and the gas prices were going up, and they kept telling them that basically it was a stellar economy. Again, stupid people want stupid answers, right? So you say, economy good, wait, because economy seem bad now. They can get that shit. But to tell them that all these programs are going to work in the next few months or so, you just got to give it time. Too much. They got to think too much. They want to dumb down. And that's because America has dumbed down our people so much that the majority of Americans read at a 6th grade level or lower. I know we don't, but for the most part, we're not normal to the rest of them. We're geniuses to them. They're pissed off at us because we're smarter than them. And we have average fucking brains. These people, pea-brain people, they think we geniuses, and they pissed off because they can't get to this level. Geniuses must be like going batshit crazy with the fact that they didn't know that stupid people like that existed. They're a step above, like, an amoeba. I mean, you're like, what the fuck is up with these people? But that is what he's saying. And I like the fact that he's admitted. But again, him saying that is still too highbrow for Fox people. That's scary.
So I know that's something we talk about a lot. 14 million jobs. We know a lot of that was rebound. Jobs were added back from the COVID pandemic. But what?
Sorry, guys, stop it there. I know you're going to get tired of it, but it's some things we need to talk about. What that man just said prior to was how the numbers in which that has increased. In Biden, by this time of 2024, Joe Biden, from the time he went in office till this time, added 14 million jobs. 14 million. Again, in the last, the last 50 years? Somewhere around there. Well, it's less than 50 years. I say 20, 30 years, something like that. It's 50 million Democrats, like 1 million fucking Republicans who created jobs created. In the entire time, 1 million to 50 million created jobs. What she did just then, right now, was to try and negate what the man said. Again, I thought you're supposed to be the news. You're supposed to be the arbiter of these two. You're supposed to be in the middle of them, listening to both sides. But instead, she came back to talk to the other man by knocking down what the man had just said, and then going to ask him to knock it down even further. She's going to say, oh, the pandemic, those are the numbers that came back from the pandemic. Well, Trick, had Donald Trump been able to manage the pandemic, we would have came back to work a little bit earlier, and those 14 million would have been on his side of the fence. But instead, this fool was coming up talking about, it ain't nothing. It's okay. It's going to be gone in like 14 days. Or you can take a sanitizer and put it in your arm, and you could probably solve it in a minute. Or better yet, you could put light in your skin, and you could probably solve it in a minute. This dipshit. That's why we was losing jobs and lives. We lost 1 million fucking lives under this dipshit. On top of that, $8 trillion in debt because of this dumbass. The most that any president in the United States history in one presidency in 4 years. There are people who went 8 years and did not come close to this fool in how much he created in debt. But these tricks, him and her on the Republican side, want to sit here and talk about, oh, well, you know, those are jobs. You don't discredit those jobs because they came. Just because Joe Biden managed the country back to health and the jobs came back, Joe Biden could have did the same thing as Trump for the next 40 years, and those jobs would have never came back because Donald Trump didn't know how to manage shit. Chaos, he could do that. But progress, horrible. Division was his game. Therefore, that's why we were losing. As soon as COVID came up, he didn't know what to do. And Joe Biden came in, he ain't dealt with COVID before. And as soon as he came in, what he started doing? Fixing the shit, organizing shit, passing bills to help American citizens. What did Donald Trump do? Absolutely nothing. Took on Obama's economics, did nothing. And once he started passing bills for the taxes, that's when our shit started going down. Giving rich people the money and giving poor and middle class a little bit of something. That's when shit started to change. And that's because Obama's plan was now changed. But beforehand, Obama's plan was going like this. Economy was going up, creeping up. Donald Trump comes in, it's creeping up, passes the bill to give people, give the rich tax breaks permanently, or at least for like 7 years or 8 years, something like that. And then, or something like that, 7 years. And then gave it to us temporary. We got like 1 or 2 years, and that was it. And even then, it wasn't that much. But up. As soon as he did that, and COVID came, boop, went straight down. Joe Biden took on COVID and had to disperse and motivate and get people out there to get the vaccine so that we can get back to work. And in so doing, created 14 million jobs. She wants to give that to the COVID coming back. Those people didn't have to hire back. They were already working. They laid people off because the economy went down. People weren't buying as much. So therefore, they wasn't producing as much. And even in that, the genius behind that, to open up a country again is hard as shit. Why? Because you already done pushed down your production. Because the fact is, the demand went down. Therefore, your production had to go down to meet that. Otherwise, you're producing way too much stuff. And if it's something that spoils or has to be thrown away, you're wasting money. So you have to learn how to bring down your exact production rather, so it meets up with the demand. So that supply and the demand kind of match up. But then when you come back, you have to increase your production and open up the state and country pretty much at a rate in which you won't have too much of high inflation. People want to come back so quick. It was because it was done, good, but it could be done better. That's why we had, on top of the businesses gouging the shit out of us. When it started to work and everything was going well, and these bills were passed to be able to start getting job and infrastructure and all that, and the semiconductors and all this, those businesses started, we started booming. 14 million jobs. And this woman wants to sit here and tell, oh, well, that's because of the pandemic. Well, if the pandemic had been handled right by Donald Trump, we wouldn't have had to do that. Just tell the truth.
What do you make of what Robert says about your work and about, a view that is somewhat more pessimistic being inaccurate when it comes to our economy?
Well, I'm certainly very proud of the work we've done on Project 2025. We've made a lot of really great conservative recommendations for the next administration, whoever it may be, and we hope they take us up on it. But in terms of the job market, one of the things we have to remember is, although we continue to see payrolls rising, the number of people actually employed has been falling. It's actually 600,000 below where it was back in November of last year. So the labor market is not all well, certainly not as well as it seems, I would say.
So He's saying that it's not all well, not well as it seems. So it seems like it's well, but he's trying to degrade it and say it's not as good as it actually is. He's really negating his own answer by saying what he's saying. I mean, he's not confident in what he's saying. He's just basically saying it's doing well, but not as well as it seems like it's doing well. Like, if it seems like it's doing well, then it's doing well. How could something seem like it's doing well and be doing horrible? You're talking about projections, possibly, that you projected it to be here, and it was actually at the beginning to here, but it didn't get to there, it got to here. But it's doing better than before, and that's the goal. Just because you threw out some high numbers for it to reach does not mean it's not doing good. It just did not exceed your expectations, and your expectations was an educated fucking guess. It wasn't the gospel, like it was going to get up there. You're hoping it will with whatever you do, but it doesn't always get there. Nobody gets the numbers they actually want at every time. You're just trying to shoot toward it, and all of it is an educated guess based off of stats and numbers. But again, you can't depict human character. You can't depict like human actions. You know, it could be somebody, a power plant blows up. That's going to affect something. That's going to change the numbers a little bit, right? An oil tanker could sink. That's going to mess with your numbers a little bit. So you can't get it down to the full-on thing. And that's the thing that both of these parties will use. If something like a natural, like an earthquake causes a problem, or there's a fire at a oil reserve place or something like that, and they got to shut it down for a few days, it's going to stop production. It's going to mess with the economy. And your best thing to do is like, okay, my projection was here. Based upon that, the projection is going to go down. Then you end of the year or whatever, or the quarter, you got whatever party wants to use whatever it needs to try and succeed and gain power. One of them will say, we didn't reach expectations. Well, you couldn't reach those expectations because it was an educated guess, and you couldn't fathom or understand or even guesstimate that the oil place was going to catch on fire, which means the production was going to go down, which means you're not going to reach your numbers. It's not because we didn't try. It's because natural disasters and shit you can't figure into. I mean, it bothers me that people do not think. And it bothers me on top of that there are people that just love lying so they can get ahead. They'll tell you a lie and give you a perception that looks right, but not give you the full reason why it looks that way, because they don't care. Whatever you want to believe me with, I'll say it. That's what they want. Just evil people. Just evil people. I live where hospitals are closing because of Trump policies. I'm sorry about that, Alice. Yeah, there's a lot of rural places that are going to have it. And then, inner cities are going to start losing some of the community colleges. I mean, it's terrible. It's horrific. Let's continue listening to this dipshit.
Yes, we are seeing unemployment tick up. We're seeing literally all of the net job gains from the last year not go to native-born Americans, but going to foreign-born workers. That's a trend that has actually been going on for the last several years.
He's trying to say that people of color are getting jobs that white people deserve. You got to understand, it's coming from this organization, the Heritage Foundation, which is all about white supremacy. So he's giving this, not even dog whistle, he's blowing a whistle on, like, listen to these key words. You don't have a job, white person, because a black or brown person got it. And that infuriates them because they can't think past their fucking thumb, and therefore we sit here and have to deal with the stupid people that can't fucking figure out that these people aren't hiring themselves. If they're not hiring you, poor white person, and you see that a brown or black person got the gig and you didn't, guess what? It was a white dude that chose the black person, the Latin person. Your anger should be at the white dude because he hired them. All they did was interview just like you. Maybe they're more qualified. How about that? But no, they feed on these people's inferiority. They're afraid that they don't match up, that they're trying to play their white card so they can get ahead. You know what? I should get this job. Here's my white card. Here's my white card. What you mean resume? I got my white card. Here it is. Let me in. And it's like, no, you got to have actual education for this fucking job. What do you mean? My white card won't get me in? No, access denied. Come on in, brown people. And that's what pisses them off. They can't get in by being white and stupid anymore. They got to be actually white and intelligent. And it's like, what? When did that happen? When did I have to actually be smart and educated and white? I just had to be white before. That's what these idiots are thinking. Because again, this man to come out and say that brown or people that are not American born are receiving the jobs more so than white people, it's just insane. Doesn't tell you the fact that if they hire that Latin person, that black person, that person of color, more than likely they're going to pay them way less than a white person for the same job. I'm getting tired of these back and forths, you know what I mean? Just do right by people. Make sure that they really know the job, and if they know what they're doing, then they deserve to get hired. But this old boy network shit is tired and old. If you don't know what you're doing, you do not deserve the job. Pete Hegseth did not deserve the job. He's not qualified. Pam Bondi did not deserve the job. She's not qualified. Dan Bongino definitely did not deserve the job. He's not qualified. Nor Kash Patel. You can go down the line. And even this dude, not qualified for the job in which they just gave him.
And in terms of GDP, yes, it's true GDP is growing, but it's essentially growing because of government debt. Under the Biden-Harris administration, we've increased debt by about $7.2 trillion. The Treasury has drawn down its cash balance about another trillion. So that's about $8.2 trillion in the red. And what did we get for it? About $6.6 trillion in GDP growth, down to 2.2 if you adjust for inflation. Essentially, it's a debt-fueled spending binge that gave us 40-year high inflation, record high credit card interest rates, and a tripling of mortgage rates.
How does that end?
Not well. We can look back at different points in our history when we did essentially the exact same thing. The 1970s, unfortunately, was a very good example of this. And the result was back-to-back recessions and mortgage rates that eventually hit 20%.
All right, Robert, we're going to get a lot of economic data this week. CPI inflation coming out Wednesday, retail sales Thursday. Friday, we'll get that University of Michigan consumer sentiment survey as well. What are you going to look to tell you where we're moving forward?
I mean, listen, we saw the stock market get hit and the world was concerned. But, you know, in 1987, I was at Salomon Brothers. We saw the Black Monday crash, and you saw what happened the last few days. One, the stock market came back. And we should be clear, that was a 1,000-point swing, and it was a big swing. We had 2,000-point downturns under President Trump, the three largest in history. I would also say the idea that the Heritage Foundation is also fiscal conservatives all of a sudden, I mean, come on, that's complete BS. They were touting the Trump tax cuts and that it was going to pay for itself with 5% GDP. My buddy Steve Moore couldn't wait to talk about it paying for himself. They had $8 trillion in debt in a 4-year period, the most in the history of a president. It went from 20 to 28 trillion, and the deficit ballooned. So this idea that all of a sudden Heritage is worried about fiscal conservatism, we should just reflect on what really happened during the Trump administration.
Okay, and very quickly, EJ, want to give you a response to that because it came up.
Now wait a minute. This Heritage Foundation guy already went and talked about. You got to look at the guy on the left, as my left. The one who's talking, not the Heritage Foundation guy. He came on first, and he was talking about just touting about that she opposed to him like all these negative things that were happening that came from like the Daily or some Daily News or something like that. All these things, that doesn't sound good. So how is that going to? And so he had to defend himself on that particular issue, saying, we've done a lot, and yes, some of the numbers did come back not that great. But certain things are happening. So he said that that he talked about what he did, what we did good as Democrats and Joe Biden, what we necessarily didn't live up to, and talked about, yes, some of these things were bad. The jobs numbers wasn't exactly what we wanted them to be. Understandable, okay? Didn't say that it is not bad, just said it's not where we want it to be. He's first fighting back on his heels. That's what this, I guess he's there for. Then she turns around to this dude from the Harris Foundation, EJ, and basically tells him, first of all, discrediting what the man has just said. So trying to knock down the reporter, the anchor, not supposed to be giving her opinion on this shit. She literally knocks down what this man had just said and then talks to this guy. So what he said got knocked down by her, tried to at least, talking about 8 million jobs. The 14 million jobs, some of those jobs came from, the pandemic, blah, 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 right? Knocking it down, what he said. Then throws him a little cookie. This dude starts going on and on and on about what happened and what wasn't happening and half-ass talking and shit, but still trying to degrade what Joe Biden had done compared to Donald Trump, right? Brought up how much he supposedly brought up in debt and all stuff like that. That was a lot to deal with the pandemic. But if you take away the pandemic, COVID-19 numbers away from Joe Biden and you take them away from Donald Trump, the deficit was still twice as much under Donald Trump. It's just insane. But you wouldn't know that listening to this. And she has to know this information. You can't tell me you're a part of the news and you have no fucking clue that the numbers this man is spitting at you, this EJ guy, are not correct numbers. You guys are trying to take away COVID from Joe Biden's success and then add on COVID to say that Donald Trump could have been better, but his success was good too. No, you can't take away one and add on to the other. They can, but that's a part of this propaganda. They never give you the full truth. Never. It's always lies and shaded truth. I tell you half the truth and the rest of it's lies. It's a formula for them. A full-on, it works for these idiots who watch this stuff, form for them. They have like a formula, rather, that they actually follow. Spit a little bit of truth, the rest are lies. These idiots won't look past that first truth to find out that the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth thing they said, utter lies, don't have anywhere to find it. But find that first truth, you'll believe the rest of it. They have a formula. So let's continue.
With our last guest, too, that these tax cuts under President Trump benefited the wealthy and they haven't been good for the country.
They haven't.
Well, it's interesting because all of the different news organizations that did an analysis on the Trump tax reform found that middle-class Americans had a lower tax burden after the reform was passed, not more. And in terms of the very wealthy, especially in high-tax states like New York, New Jersey, Illinois, California, those individuals actually paid more because although their top marginal tax rate was reduced, they lost deductions under that tax reform. In other words, it got rid of tax loopholes. And apparently the Democrats now want to get rid of that because doing so would be a handout to their donor base, again, in those high tax blue states.
Okay. So what you just saw this man was seriously obfuscate. He tried his best to kind of like say, what she just presented to him was to say, hey, the guy is kind of right. And I spoke to some other people that these tax cuts didn't really pay for themselves. And they're a little bit, not doing what you guys said basically was going to do. And he goes on to talk about, eventually his thing that he ends with is he mentions 4 or 5 states, all blue states, and talked about they didn't receive their loopholes. So they're mad. And so the Democrats are trying to do whatever they can to change this so that their people can get more tax breaks. Do you realize that the tax cuts were Republican given and that under Joe Biden, he didn't change it or stop it? He just kept on Donald Trump's whole plan when it came to taxes. That was Donald Trump's plan. So for you to sit here and talk about what Joe Biden did during that era, no, that was Donald Trump's plan. And what what the Democrats trying to do to get rid of loopholes. That didn't even come up, bro. They didn't change it. They kept it. That was Donald Trump's tax plan. 100%. It's still there now. They're about to change it. Well, they just did with this big, beautiful bill. So you had the last 8 years, Donald Trump's fourth, whatever the year he did, I think he may have did it 2017 the last time, or maybe 18. So 2 years or so. His first term, Joe Biden's 4 years, that's 6, all the way up this year, going into the 7th. We've had going on 7 years of Donald Trump's fucking plan. And this dude's trying to say, well, we're trying to get, the Democrats trying to get a tax cut. It is always the Republicans who are trying, and I ain't gonna say Democrats don't do it because they do deal with their billionaires, but they're always the ones talking about it as if the Democrats are the only ones doing it. And I'm like, dude, your guy passed this bill to make that happen. And did we get the jobs that you guys promised? Fuck no. And he didn't even discredit the fact that he said we got 8 trillion. It was more than 8 trillion. It was like 8.2 or something like that. That's how much it was for Donald Trump. That's how much he added to the deficit, more than any president in American history. He didn't even touch that because the man said that. He didn't touch that. He tried to come up with Joe Biden's. And I'm like, that's not going to work, bro. You can't sit here and just sit there. Oh, what did Joe Biden pass in order to accumulate that debt? He didn't pass the tax bill. He didn't pass that shit where you started giving everybody their money back. That was 7 years or whatever, your fucking guys' plans. So that continued to add to the deficit. That's something that the Joe Biden and his administration had to work around. It was already set in stone. So that, what you guys created, Republicans and Heritage Foundation, is still harming us to this day. As of June or July, our deficit is up to 37 trillion. This is adding what Donald Trump has also added to the debt thus far in his second term. Add it all together. It's insane how these people fuck up our lives and play games as if it's a toy to play with. It's like, dude, no. Your guy fucked up with these tax cuts, and now he's trying to make it through the big, beautiful bill. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump and his plan, the first tax cuts and all that, by doing that, it cost us, in the pandemic happening, he took us to $8.2 trillion, higher than any other president. Without the pandemic, he was at 4.4, something like that. Without the pandemic, for Biden, it was like 2.1. Half of what Donald Trump did in those 4 years. So let's just say we don't have another pandemic under this fool. We might, because he ain't paying attention to health. You're still talking about putting on, and with all these tariffs and shit, it's going to go higher. So you're going to sit here and probably beat the $8 trillion deficit that he put us in before in these 4 years. Because again, giving the tax cuts, it didn't pay for itself. That was their promise. It was going to pay for itself. We're fiscally conservative. Didn't pay for itself. So how do you double down on something that didn't work the first time and expect to make it better? You think that without the pandemic, that it's going to do what you thought it was going to do before? Based off of what? Your idea that you think President Obama's plan that had a record length of increase, our economy was going up and up and up, and then when Donald Trump comes in and starts throwing bills and shit in and tax cuts, went down. It broke. And Donald Trump's going to break it again. Why? Because he does not know how to govern. And on top of that, these tariffs. On top of that, this man is all over the map with the countries that we are with and these wars that are going on in other countries that we either support one day or not supporting. And then our bond market. and the fact that what country can trust us. To keep this thing afloat, the countries must trust us. And if we're not the steady hand, the one that becomes the steady hand will become the superpower. Because the country wants, all these countries want, is to be mellow. See, stocks are supposed to be boring. They're supposed to be like, somewhat predictable. It can have wide ranges, but when it comes down to it, it levels off and it's predictable, up and down, up and down. You can't have down, 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 down. It's not, no. It's going to go down and up, down and up, down and up. That's throughout the whole process for the whole entire time. Donald Trump plays games with it. That's our country. No other country at this moment trusts anything our country fucking says as far as leadership. Pam Bondi just released a document about Russia trying to get President Obama in trouble. And everybody in the alphabet group was trying to tell her, look, this thing will basically tell where some of our spies are. Don't release it. Because she's trying to get people to stop focusing on what people should be focusing on, right? She wants them to stop talking about these people. She wants them to stop talking about these people. So what are they doing? Throwing shit out there, even stuff that can get our spies killed. She put it out. And these other countries, all they got to do is look at the information from whence it came. And the only people they know it. And it may be one person, it may be 5 people that they're going to look at. But by the time that thing hit, whatever countries that helped us get this information or whatever it may be, whatever information they may have had, it's an instant. That person's known. If that person's in Russia, that person's probably on the deathbed right now. They didn't care. They're trying to get Donald Trump out of trouble. It's crazy how this group of people are trying to act like they're for law and order while breaking laws and breaking traditions in this country that keeps us safe, that keeps us number one in many ways, that keeps us trusted, that keeps us, quote unquote, number one. They're breaking all of that trust. What are these countries going to do? I ain't saying they're going to start a war. I'm just saying that these people are going to find the steady hand. And that steady hand may not be the best country to be having a steady hand with. Like they said, there are countries that are pretty much enemies of each other. And because of Donald Trump, they're working together. China and Japan have a deal with trade. These people didn't like each other before Donald Trump forced them to work with one another because they didn't want to deal with his shit. Now think if every country does that, where does that put America? I think Donald Trump wants to isolate us. He thinks we're going to be number one being isolated. America first. He's saying America alone. And if America's alone, America's not safe. Because what? If we have to go to war, people are going to go. And that means innocent lives are going to be taken. Will we win the war? Hell yeah, I believe. That's just me thinking. But will we lose a lot of lives? Fuck yeah, we will. I'm telling you, these countries aren't afraid of us. There's no need to be. These people have been fucked with for so long, they go out and kill each other on ideals. They go out and say, I'm going to throw a bomb on myself and walk into an innocent crowd. When have you ever heard of American, except for the ones who are batshit crazy? But I'm talking about organized Americans. I've never heard of it. Now, some people may have been in the military, heard of this. I've never heard of a military person throwing a bomb on themselves and walking out there to unalive people for a war. They may shoot people and get caught up. But I have yet to see an American Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, whatever, just throw on a bomb and walk into a crowd to kill whatever the people are that are around them. On the regular. I mean, that's the strategy. So you think these people are afraid of dying? Fuck no, they aren't. Their lives have been so much hell that it ain't even like, yo, bro. They literally, in some of these countries, not all of them, but some of these countries are like, when I die, I'm going to have a better life. So, hey, they're eating like one meal a day. Could it get worse? I have no meals a day. They have not a lot to lose. We have plush lives. Even the poor of us can still find food, some clothing someplace. Other countries, people are starving. No jobs to be had. No land to till. So I don't get it twisted. I am appreciative of what we have in this country, but I am not in a mindset to believe that we can't be taken down. We can. When you got people who have nothing to lose and they get tired of being bullied, they fight back. And that's what's going on with Palestine and Israel. That's what's going on with Ukraine and Russia. Russia's trying to do shit, but Ukraine ain't falling back. They're like, fuck it. I'm tired of being bullied by these people trying to take our country back. No, we fighting to the death. And rightfully so. Bullies should not be, it's 2025. It's enough of this colonizing bullshit. End that shit. Leave it in the past. That's the way I look at it. But this is what we should be talking about. These people right here. The ones who are causing all the problems. And Donald Trump should be spoken about with Epstein. Call him Don Steen. Don Steen. So there's both of them. Don Steen. What's up? So, like Frankenstein. Don Stein. But that's what I wanted to tell you guys. The thing, keep in your mind, Donald Trump is doing what he's doing because, one, it's racist. Two, it is fascist. And if he really wanted to stop crime, he would start, especially murder, the way he was talking about murder and all this. If he's talking about the murder rate and all that, he needs to go stop at 8 red states first. He's talking about overall crime. There's 6 Democratic states that he can work on. But D.C. is not one of them. So it's a lot of bullshit. And we all know it. But, I just want those people out there to know the truth. And to realize that, there's a place for facts. And if you really want to know the truth, instead of listening to Donald Trump, you know it. This man is trying his best to get your mind off of Epstein. And you've been seeing a sporadic number of stories just pop up out of nowhere. And you're like, every day, something else big. And there was not article, it was an interview or something. I don't remember who it was, but they said it was something out there. And it might have been Michael Wolff, to be honest, that said something to the effect of Donald Trump has been asking Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and all those others to find something big so they can kind of bury this Epstein thing. Now, first off, if he did do this, then Bondi, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Pete Hegseth, they all know Donald Trump did this shit. Because you can't hire me to hide you harming children. There ain't enough amount of money. And that's the problem. These people are hiding it. Why do I even feel that? Because I think Trump did it. I mean, a 13-year-old girl said at the time she was 13, but she was older when she filed the charge. She was 13. And it sounds about right. Donald Trump was always talking about little girls, either going into his pageant to look at them naked, talking about his own daughter in disrespectful ways. sexual ways. What do you have in common with your daughter? And she's like, oh, I think it's like, maybe legs or something like that. Oh, sex. I was going to say sex. Say what? How you know how your daughter's sex is? Who would have said that? When my daughter's name come up, I don't think about sex not once. This dude thought of sex when he thought of his daughter. Asked a question about his daughter, what he had in common with her. He said sex. I was going to say sex. Out in the open. Out in the open. He was telling you. Out in the open. And because he said it out in the open, fools don't believe it's true. Crazy. It's just insane. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know how to support a brother. I appreciate with the goals today, with the donations. I appreciate that coming from Fire on Fire. Thank you for the memberships as well. Appreciate that. Yeah, China's tech is insane, especially the bullet trains faster than the airliners. The 2025 display on New Year's and robot dogs patrolling their streets. Absolutely insane. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. The new DEI is white Christian Fox hosts and contributors that qualify for a government job in D.C. 1,000%. Because again, they project. It's like, why don't we just find people who qualify for the job? People who believe they qualified, apply. I mean, it's a novel idea. You apply, you have a resume for it, you've had the education for it, maybe, have a trial period where you work for a week or two and see if you can handle the job, right? Because Dan Bongino couldn't handle it. He was like, I don't see my wife enough, and I don't feel good about it being with Cash Patel's here every time I get here, late as fuck. I get here at 7:30. He's here way before me, just literally telling you he don't show up at work on time. He has CP time for work, and he's like, I got to work, and just so much and so much. He wasn't ready. Should have never been hired. He should know how to do his job, not it should be a loyalty test. FBI should not be working with the president. The DOJ should not be working with the president. You remember, and I don't even care that much for James Comey, but I respect his work ethic. When Donald Trump wanted that fool around, he's like, we shouldn't be around each other. He wouldn't come next to him. Got invited to play golf with him. I can't do it. When he ended up going somewhere with him, he took notes because he knew Donald Trump was going to try and talk him into some shit. So he recorded everything the man said. He said, what? Everything that went on in the conversation. That is an FBI person. That is the way a DOJ should work. But no, these fools are all chummy, hanging out with the president. That's not the gig. You can tell that it's a gang. It's like our gang on Little Rascals. Our gang on Little Rascals is what they are. It's a group of people hanging together, being homies, trying to run a country. None of them qualify. What makes them qualified is that they're following Russell Vogt. The little notes that he got from them every day. This is what you need to accomplish today. Take them all, boom, 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 and then they're done for the day. They have no idea what they're doing. I don't know if you pray, say positive things, but do whatever you can for this country. Take care, Nina. I see you. Hey, I see you. All right. So I'm about to get up out of here, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I appreciate y'all for being here. Gonna get some shout outs real quick. Gun Toting Lefty, thank you for being here. DJ, thank you for being here as well. Nina, take care. Demetrius, always a pleasure. I see some new people in here. Thank you for coming in. Dennis, I appreciate you. Alice Early, as always. I appreciate you. Swift returns. Have a great night. Oh, he's already gone. Thanks for a sanity check. Sometimes it's hard to know if I'm seeing what I'm seeing is real, even real. I feel you. If you come back and see this, you'll see that. Jen James, again, appreciate you. He is gross. How can Americans not see it? I don't know, Jen. I don't know. I think they see it. I think, truthfully, what I think is that most Americans see it. It is his followers and voters and devout people. It's a cult. They want to look at every time he does something wrong and it pisses off the Democrats or liberals or just other Americans whom they call liberals just because they're not a part of MAGA. They get joy out of it because they think he's trolling them. They don't think it's real until it hits them. Then they think, wait a minute, this is real? I mean, he wasn't like joking. He wasn't like getting at the libs. He wasn't like owning the libs. He's really doing this shit when it hits them. And it's like, then they start to realize. Thank you, Rudy and Planet Janet, for being here. So that's what I think is going on with them. Outside of the racist people who want this, part of the Heritage Foundation, oh, they love this shit. They know exactly what he's going to do, what he's going to do. And the people who belong to that group know because they helped write it. They hired the people to do it. Donald Trump hired everybody that Project 2025 wanted. They had already hired 15,000 people before he became president. All Donald Trump had to do was let them implement it. He hired Russ Vought to implement it. It shall be done. So almost everything that you're seeing is Russ Vought. Donald Trump is just following him. This man is playing golf and playing with himself more than he's actually doing work. Best believe that. Well, looks like that's everybody that came in. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good night. Y'all be safe. And I'll see you tomorrow around 5:30ish. 5:30ish. You guys have a good night. Be safe. And I'll see you when I see you.